sport fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Let's get straight into the episode.
Yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stun. Living life.
That's alright.
Prom's actually shit.
It's so bad. It's actually the worst.
Come on,
Bro, it sucks. It sucks.
Wait, come on. We're trying to chase something here. Yeah. Everyone loves Prime.
Prom is good. Yeah.
I love it.
Everyone, thank you for tuning in. We have our first group podcast today. I've been very excited to do so. It's the whole reason I built this room, and I'm very, very grateful to the episode I've been long awaited and excited for. So we got long predicted and assumed Jayden McCully and Damon Laudet to get us started on group podcast sessions.
Alrighty. First family.
Sorry, bro. I auto-corrected that in the last episode. I swear to God I did.
Yeah, I saw.
Bro,
He didn't even acknowledge April third family.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't matter after the first.
Who cares? Yeah, when I saw your comment first family, I can't put this in the podcast.
Panicked a bit,
Shit, we're already getting started. I thought I'll tell you, but Damo. I called him, I was like, bro, you're a dog, bro. Fuck you. And he's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah. Hey, you fucking calling me a dog and shit. I'm like, hey, you're the one that dogged me. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
All right, well, so far we're about 3 minutes in. Not sure if I can keep any of it.
What do you mean?
Rewind.
No, it's all good, bro. It's all good. We ain't say nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
I ain't say nothing.
Oh, sorry, so close.
Well, let me just say for everyone listening,
I was about to say something.
Before I get into it, I'd like to say for everyone listening, there might be issues being my first three-person pod so far. There might be camera, sound, there might be a whole bunch of things we're not used to, maybe even talking over each other, so we'll obviously do our best maybe to...
I'm going to talk over everybody.
Yeah, like that, perfect example.
Yeah, no, I see it. Just ignore someone, eh?
But
Am I not the best?
We'll just ignore Doxy the whole time. We'll just talk to each other.
That's a wrap.
And we're finished.
We'll just turn off that camera and mic, and then we'll just...
Hey, where's the we in this? How the fuck do you know what you're doing in here?
Hey, I taught you how to fucking work these cameras at one point, bro.
You take over. The Damo cast.
Welcome to the Damo cast. Check out our new merch.
Our new merchandise.
You can purchase online now for $60.
$60, that's actually a good deal. These are comfy as, bro.
Good shirts, eh?
Yeah, bro.
I put it on, I felt sexier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You see it? Bro, buy the shirts, you look sexier.
Exactly.
I just seen our own IP on these shirts. So. Any money made.
I didn't realise
I'll
that.
sue you for the domain, bro. I'll sue you for that.
Is that even you on the shirt?
Yeah. It's AI me.
It's AIU.
Yeah, everyone watching, not just listening, Damo fucking hooked us up with these podcast shirts. They're
Solid.
mad.
Yeah, because last time I came for the 1 year show and I didn't have a gift. So
Yeah.
got you some gifts.
Nah, they're mad. I
Lovely.
love them. I
Some
love them.
gifts.
The guests are meant to be wearing them, but...
Yeah. But Scully didn't want to wear it.
Yeah, that other guest that was meant to be here as well. Fucking sucks.
All right, please, can we start where we left off before we started recording? Were you looking in-
Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers.
Transformers on the moon.
Dude. Oh, no. All I was going to say was, you know the series Transformers, right? Obviously, everyone does. Started
Pause
as
right there. My favourite series, actually, to be honest, out of any type of series.
Yeah?
Harry Potter, Star Wars, Pirates of the Caribbean, Transformers is the
You just say that because of
fucking
Megan Fox, bro.
best.
And then what's the other, the Aussie girl that was in one of
Oh,
them?
yeah,
and
she
then
was a fucking weapon, bro.
I can't remember
bro.
her
A
name.
Blondie?
Imagine pumping that robot butt.
Yeah, bro. Oh, yeah. Bro.
We all taking that for a ride. Let's be real, bro.
Could be nothing but gears on the inside, bro, and I'd still find a way in there.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Alright, so, what were you saying about Cybertron?
Dude, so, no, I was just saying that in the series, right, I never really... like with other series, I always focus on where the characters come from and stuff like that and what their backgrounds are and their origins. With Transformers, I never really thought about it, but they're literally sentient, alien, biomechanical robots, right?
Yeah.
But they don't have any biology to them. They're just robots.
Well,
they're
they have
only
a-
machine.
They have a creator, but...
They do. His name's Primus, but Primus is Cybertron, the planet, and he's still machine nonetheless. So in the lore, I looked it up. There's two paths of thinking for Transformers fans, and obviously they're all fags. But the thing is, right?
Alright, that's fine.
It's okay.
I thought you were gay.
No, yeah. Fuck No, I said that in confidence.
Oh, sorry, we just added you.
Yeah, it's the only way you can use the word fag.
Oh no, but fuck.
Yeah, you don't get a pass if you're not gay. You can't say fag.
Shit. Yeah, true. Well, yeah, no, the Transformers, I was like, where the fuck do they come from? Because through evolution, organic life has to build up from like chemical compounds to above and beyond, right? You can't just have mechanical life spawn out of nowhere. It's not possible. It has to be created by organic life.
Yeah.
So I was looking into it, and the whole story essentially, I understand it's fiction and it can be whatever it wants realistically, but it's that Primus had an enemy, both planet-sized Transformers, right? Literally planet-sized. That's why Cybertron is as big as a planet. And they had a fight, and essentially Primus created the first Transformers, whatever the first Transformers were that came to Earth, those really old ones.
Like the dinosaur look.
Those
they were
ones,
called
yeah.
Primes or something.
Primes
weren't
or
they?
something, yeah, like that, the 13 Primes.
Yeah.
And he created those to fight the enemy planet that he was trying to fight. And then eventually to host all these Transformers that he created, he turned himself into a planet and gave them all the Allspark inside them. That's like their soul for the Transformers. And I was like, yeah, okay, but where do they come from?
I wonder if it was like a conscious like evolution of metal. You know what I mean? Like
That's what I was
minerals
thinking as
and
well. I was
shit
like,
that
could
came out
that
of
be
the ground.
possible? I'm like, could that even be possible out there? You know what I mean? Because when I think of alien life, I think of only organic biological life. I don't think of anything machine-wise. I think of machine-wise in the sense that the AI took over that civilization and therefore started creating machine life. But that started as organic life originally, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I can't imagine it just the evolution line just being machine only, just metallurgy only, and it's just turning into organic conscious metal / biological life.
I reckon it was conscious life that was formed out of mineral iron and shit like that. Like
Could
I
be.
reckon,
I mean,
reckon
it's
all
crazy
the
to think
minerals on
about.
the ground just started to become self-aware, and they're like, "Fuck."
Let's
and
put each other together.
Maybe in another universe. Parallel
Possibly.
universe.
Parallel universe, yeah, exactly.
fuck yeah.
Mini world series.
Transformers
Well, there's
is
heaps.
in the same universe as something else too. Like,
It's Marvel.
no, it's not Marvel.
not.
It's
No, it is.
Hasbro.
It's Dark
No,
Knight.
it's not. It's Marvel.
It's Dark Knight.
I reckon it's Hasbro.
It's Dark
Or is
Knight.
that just the toy? Hasbro, the toy brand. Maybe.
It's Dark Knight.
What are you saying, Dark Knight? You mean Batman?
No, Dark Knight Comics.
Is that
Dark Knight Comics. Probably.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not Marvel.
Is Transformers. No.
Yeah.
Marvel is Marvel Comics, right?
Is it the same as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No, because
Don't
the
know.
Transformers do have a crossover with Marvel, though.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, let's pull out the iPads.
Yep.
Jamie,
Jamie, pull it up.
we all got iPads. How
Hey,
good's
code me
this,
up.
bro?
Code me up.
Let's go.
Can we all just play on the iPads today?
I've got Subway Surfers.
Yeah, so you're right.
Wi-Fi,
It is
not
created by
connected.
Hasbro.
That's the toys, but
Hasbro Universe. No.
Yeah, no, Hasbro created the story as well. It's a media franchise.
Oh no, that's just the toys, but
And the toy company Takara
Yeah.
Tomy created the toys.
Hasbro Universe, which also shares the same thing as.
Robots
Fucking-
in disguise. G.I. Joe.
That's it. GI Joe.
But they're not in the same universe.
Micronauts, ROM, Mask. Action
Marvel
Man.
Comics was hired by Hasbro to create the backstory. There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That'd be mad a crossover, bro. Imagine Optimus Prime fighting Hulk.
I've always thought about shit like that. Like Megatron and fucking, you know, what's the Thanos? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the big bad of each movie coming together to fight.
That was a good little star. I like the fucking. I love Transformers
Love
so
Transformers,
much, bro.
bro.
I love Transformers.
Always loved
hey, it was
Transformers.
published by Marvel.
Yeah.
Fucking 1984 to 1994.
Yep. They also wrote all the backstory.
Crazy.
But I get what you're saying. It's not in the same universe at
Yeah.
all, so you can't count it as a crossover series.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see that because DC did a crossover with Marvel once, where
Yeah,
they had
yeah.
all the heroes come into the other universe,
Yeah.
and they fought
Yeah.
to see who's like the ultimate.
Wait for that movie. I've been watching with The Flash. Been showing
Who's
The
that?
Flash. I'm not gonna say names on the pod.
You just said names.
Oh yeah, I did too.
You just
Hang on, hang
did.
on. Let me pause. Let me pause. Hang on.
Oh, sprung.
I've been. I don't want to give too much information away on the podcast, but I've been watching The Flash lately.
Wait, the series, the television series.
Just
That's kinda
YouTube
sad, bro.
videos like The Flash for kids,
The
and
animated
shit like
series?
that. Just The Flash for kids. I've been looking that up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's fucking. I realized, like, I reckon Flash is probably the most powerful superhero. To be honest, do you reckon there's anyone more powerful?
The fuck?
I looked
he
into
gets
it-
smashed by fucking everyone.
No,
bro.
I looked into a theory once about that because of the whole time thing that technically he would be because he can go before your move in any situation and change the
Superman's
course
the
of
same
history.
speed as him.
No,
Nah,
so
no
Flash is actually
chance.
faster.
Flash is way faster. Flash can vibrate his atoms in his body so fast that he can generate
He can go through
electricity.
walls.
He can go through. He can go through the
You saying,
floor.
like, fucking when fucking Superman bashes him and shit.
Maybe if the Flash was like learning how to be fucking faster and faster.
I mean, it also depends on what story and universe you're talking about, because all these comics have different. They're in the multiverses as well. DC's got a multiverse and Marvel
Yeah.
has a multiverse, so different Flashes and stuff like
Didn't know
that.
that.
So the Flash in the newest movie and the second newest movie, which is Zack Snyder's Justice League, he actually has a scene in the end where he has to run around the complex to reverse time, so that way Cyborg can hack into the fucking whatever it is. But he does the run that reverses space time around everybody, and Superman's even stuck in that as well in that
Oh,
universe.
Superman can do that too. He flies around the planet to reverse time.
I've seen that. Yeah,
Wow.
that happened in the comic too. Actually, yeah.
That's just so OP. This
Who
is
would
why
know?
Marvel's better.
Who
bro.
would know?
This is why Marvel's better than
I
DC.
think DC's way better.
Nah, DC's
Nah,
way
Marvel's
too
way
OP,
better.
bro. Marvel's better, 100%.
Dark
Everything's
Knight
like-
trilogy
Don't like Batman anyway.
solos everything Marvel's ever done.
Nah.
Dark Knight trilogy, serious. Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight,
The
Christian
entire
Bale's Dark Knight.
MCU, bro.
Nah. Marvel's gone to shit lately.
Let's just say up until Endgame then.
Yeah,
alright? Nothing-
Marvel up to Endgame
Yeah.
was the best.
Yeah.
DC movies are shit.
No.
But the comics are good.
No.
TV shows are good.
I like the TV shows, yeah.
Wait,
That's
so you're saying
like-
the Dark Knight trilogy is shit?
I'm not saying it's shit.
No.
I just don't like
That's
it.
good. I don't count
If you're
that
ta-
as part of.
okay,
I mean,
so you're
like
talking
the
about
fucking,
Justice League, Batman
Yeah,
vs
yeah, yeah.
Superman, all that shit.
Yeah,
that
well,
was
that
terrible,
was
right?
shit.
Aquaman.
Because that was the
Green
new DC,
Lantern.
right?
Yeah.
But when you take their solo movies, like Joker, for example, solos
Yeah.
everything Marvel's ever done and ever will do. Marvel can't create a movie like Joker. Joker is Oscar worthy. Nothing Marvel's ever done is Oscar worthy. Ever.
Yeah,
Logan?
all right. I'm with you on that
Oh,
one.
you fucking got me. Yeah,
Yeah,
you bastard.
yeah,
Yeah, you got
yeah.
me there.
What did you pick?
Logan. He's right.
Yeah, you're
He's
right.
so, yeah, that's Marvel's Joker.
Yeah.
But that's the only evidence of them being able to produce a movie of that caliber.
And it's not
thing-
really Marvel too, because that was
Exactly.
At the time, it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
not Disney.
Well,
Who
Wolverine was a
owned
separate
it?
franchise.
Sony.
It's like Spider-Man, how they're owned by Sony. Wolverine was separate too.
Yeah.
And then they only just reintroduced Spider-Man back into the MCU.
Same with the X-Men too, though.
Exactly. Well, the X-Men now they're making
Fantastic Four.
that new movie.
Yeah.
Did that movie come out? The Fantastic Four one, the new one.
The new one, no, they're hinting at a third series, like a spin-off.
Yeah.
They did one and series, and
And then
then
they did the
second.
re-release or the remake, sorry, a few years back.
Yeah.
Like 2016, whatever it was.
Yeah. I don't know, everything in the Marvel. I haven't even watched fucking the Ms. Marvels. What's it called? Ms. Marvels? What's the new
Oh,
one called?
I didn't watch
I don't
it.
know.
The Marvels.
Fuck that.
I haven't watched that. I haven't watched Ms. Marvel, the
The
Marvels,
Eternals? Is that
She-Hulk. Eternals was good. Everyone hates the Eternals. The Eternals was
liked it.
mad. I liked it.
Is that
too.
the new? Is that a movie or a show?
movie?
Movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably like 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Okay, and that was good, was it?
Fucking dope. It was dope. That's a mad.
But the fucking shit thing is, like, the rest of the story that came after it, no one ever talked about the fucking massive alien that's
They
coming out of the
did.
earth.
They did in. Was it the Spider-Man? What came after that? Spider-Man.
I don't know.
I think it was Spider-Man came
I
after that.
think
They did talk about it in the beginning of that movie. It had a news clip of people like exploring the giant fucking hand and shit.
Oh, did it?
And they set up a base or
You
something.
guys
on it.
seen the new universe they're creating for the King Kong Godzilla franchise? They're making a new TV series called Monarch. It's about the Hollow Earth and shit like that.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like it's going into all the depths of all the different monsters and stuff like that. It's the whole MonsterVerse essentially based off the original Godzilla movie they made in 2014. So they're making the new King Kong movie as well, which is like Kong, the New Empire or something like that. And then they're making Monarch in between as like a filler series. And I've looked at the trailer and it's probably the first show I've been keen for in a very, very long time.
So is that what the theory is inside of that? They're not just under the ground. They're in another planet, like under the inside.
The
out
real
Earth.
theory or the theory of the show?
The theory, like the actual law about King Kong Godzilla. Like,
Oh,
does
the-
Godzilla
the-
come from another Earth inside Earth, or is
Yeah.
it just like he's just buried
It's
under
called
the ground?
Agartha. It's the Hollow Earth is supported by real science as well, where the sun is suspended inside with like the gravity is so strong that it suspends itself inside, so it just hovers there, and it sits in the middle like the core would sit there, right? But it's so dense, right, that it's suspended in its own gravity field, like a mini Earth, because the core of all suns and planets are so hot and dense that they can suspend themselves in the air like that. But that's how the theory works. In real life, in the show, it's just another bio biodome down there full of very, very diverse life. And it's like massive cave systems and stuff like that. And that's where most of them come from.
So it's like an ecosystem of plants and trees and fucking water
exactly.
and
Everything.
shit.
Megafauna,
It has
megaflora, you name it, it's all down there.
Wow.
But
That can't possibly work in real life, but that you reckon?
we don't have megaflora and fauna down there, but I do believe in most of the proponents for the hollow earth.
But how could you have a suspension between the hollowness
Aren't
and
the green
the
twins
outside?
from there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
what?
you know that story of the
Yeah.
England green twins. They came out of a cave and they're like, yeah, we're not from here.
What?
They don't speak English or anything, but they eventually learned over time, and their accents were strange, like not Norwegian, not Swedish, not anything like that. Even though they were strange countries to them as well at the time, their accents didn't match anything, and they had green skin, and it didn't go away. It's not like they were sick or something. They just had green skin, and that was it.
When was this year?
Oh, and it fucking
1400s, 1500s.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but how could you possibly have a suspension between the sun, right? And then an atmosphere and then more of a shell? Like, how could that be? How could everything...
It's imagine
how
it like this.
How could it not be pulling the rest of the planetary...
It is, and that's
into
what
it?
suspends itself, because gravity works we don't really know how it works, but there's 11 dimensions of it. It's like strings attaching, because you know what string theory is, right? Little strings connecting everything. Imagine those strings are so strong with the force of gravity that they can not just suspend, but push away at the same time. So that's how it's kept in its own suspension. And our core does that right now too, because they found out that it's not emboldened by rock. It's actually sitting there surrounded by an air gap.
Is it?
Yeah.
You know,
And
it's
they've-
crazy because it's like I can't wrap my head around how that would work, but I can't even wrap my head around how we are able to survive on the outside of a planet.
Exactly.
either.
The harshness of space is, and we're protected by an electromagnetic field that no
Yeah.
other planet has in the solar system.
Yeah.
We live in the Goldilocks zone.
Like, we're actually completely fine and contract, but if you want, you can just fucking fly out and then you're in the middle of
You're
fucking
dead.
nothing.
You can't- Death.
You can't fly out.
Yeah, true. Maybe you can't fly out.
Fuck off.
Before you
Shut
fucking hit the fucking Hunger Games fucking window panel, bro. Yeah. I don't know if it's possible to have a hollow Earth because of the fact that, like, how have we possibly not discovered it yet through the amount of
Admiral Byrd
radio
discovered it.
frequencies that we send through the ground and archaeological burial sites that we're able to discover through
They won't
hundreds
tell
of
you
meters.
if they won't tell you.
But they don't have to because, like, the people will.
So in 1947, Admiral Byrd went to Antarctica, and in his journal he documented what he saw and what happened, right? I'm pretty sure I told you this story. I don't know if you've heard this. Do you know who Admiral Byrd is?
No.
So in the 40s, right, just after World War II, America decided to send an armada, basically an invasion force to Antarctica. What's the reason? They said it was because they were just doing a bit of field research with a couple scientists. 1,600 Marines on those ships, icebreakers, tanks, you name it. They've got it all down there.
Because the Nazis warned them when they took the Nazis to America.
The Nazis were working with them on those
Yeah,
ships.
that's what I'm saying.
But not just that, the Nazis were also in Antarctica. So
Ooh.
I'll explain it. So basically, Admiral Byrd goes with this armada, this invasion force. Everything that we know about the story up until the point of his diary is the same. They go there, a couple of things, they're setting up base and stuff like that. For some reason, a few Marines died, health problems, falling over, stuff like that.
Pneumonia.
Hit his head on a rock that shot him through the head somehow, I don't know. Anyway, Admiral Byrd one day takes an expedition in a plane over Antarctica to see what he can see, because they haven't really explored the continent too much at this point. They have, but they haven't at the same time. He gets in this plane, and as he's flying, he's very low, by the way, he starts to notice that things are changing around him. It's not just a barren ice wasteland anymore. It's greenery. He's seeing trees and like mountains, and he sees like a mammoth running in the forage, like in the trees, you know what I mean? And he goes lower to see what it is. And before he knows it, he's ended up in like a cave system, like a very large cave system, but it's still got all this shrubbery and it's still very bright.
Is he
and
still in the
everything.
plane?
Still in the plane.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, his aviation, like all of his instruments start shutting down, and then the plane's engine turns off, but he's still suspended in the air. And he looks to his left, he sees a saucer, and he looks to his right, and he sees a saucer, and they're both like captured him in this field. And what's on the side of each saucer that he wrote in his journal? Swastikas.
No way.
I promise you.
Wow, I was full
Or Buddhist
guessing and
symbols.
joking with that.
What did you say?
Or Buddhist symbols. The Buddhists
Yeah, technically,
transcended.
it's,
right?
it's
Yeah.
yes,
They
that's
transcended.
right. Yeah, exactly right. So they for layman's terms, they had swastikas on the side of the saucers. The saucers took him down into what he described as a crystalline city built out of the earth. So the buildings were crystal, And you know how we have big quartz crystals
like
inside
Quartz City?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
You know how we have big quartz crystals inside the earth that literally take up miles of cave land, and like the further you get in, the more crystalline it gets and purer it gets. He says they built these cities out of the crystal, out of the ground. So they rose up out of the ground, and they were all just like light crystal towers, right?
They manipulated the fact that they grew the crystals
Out of
into the
ground,
shapes of cities.
into the shapes of cities.
Wow.
And this one that he visited, he called it Agartha. And Agartha is a big, prominent, holy city in all the ancient mythologies. Thousands and thousands of years ago in ancient texts, they all describe Agartha. He goes there. He says he's greeted by someone they call the elder or the leader or something like that. Very tall, humanoid-looking, Nordic-looking being. And it comes to him and speaks to him in his mind, basically like telling him, you know, we've noticed what you've been doing up the top recently, especially last two years ago, you dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and you shook the earth. Like they know, because right after World War II and even during World War II, that's where the UFO phenomenon came from. They called them Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters are the name for UFOs. When they didn't know what it was, they're like, that's a Foo Fighter. That's not part of the war. Just ignore it. Don't shoot it down because it's just over there doing its thing. But the Foo Fighters came out to start observing what's happening. Like, holy shit, planetary war. They're killing each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at this point, we hadn't developed nuclear technology to the fullest yet, so they weren't like, oh, it's still caveman war, it's all good. And then when we dropped those nukes, they were like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit. We shook the earth. And, yeah, they told him, they're like, yeah, shit, you can't. This keeps happening, you're fucked.
So is what he's explaining is that he flew across the globe, across Antarctica, into a cave system,
And
which
then
is
into the
basically
earth.
like entering the middle of the earth. So
Yeah.
it's not really like a hollow earth theory.
It's more of like a massive
it's more like
cave
a
sub
reverse
system.
donut in a way. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And but so it's not like the earth is fully hollow at a certain point, the crust just stops and then it's just hollow. It's like these cave systems extend so long, so wide, and so tall that you could just fit societies in there and civilizations, like breakaway human civilizations, for example. And that's probably what they are. Like there's a mountain in I forgot where it was. Oh, fuck, it's a very good story, but they describe dwarves coming out of the mountain to trade their gold for what the local villagers have to offer, like when they really needed it, and then they go back into the mountain never to be seen again.
It's funny
stuff
because
like
we've
that.
actually had recorded. I'm pretty sure it's actual evidence that we class as science that we have had dwarfs living amongst humans, like a different race of
Yeah, in
people.
Indonesia.
Yeah, like at the same
Yeah,
time as
they
us.
found the bones in Indonesia, very short humans that they
Yeah.
they were anatomically correct. Like they called them, well, there's a word for it, homunculus. That's anatomically correct, shortened human, right? Dwarves aren't, well, little people, sorry, like the ones we see now, they're not anatomically correct because they're like a little bit stumpy and, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
anatomically correct would just mean you're 3 foot tall, but you look exactly the same as us.
Yeah.
But
Which is
yeah.
pretty cool. If we have proof of that having to be existed at the same time as Homo sapiens, at least for us, then I wonder if there's been anything taller than us at the same time too,
100%,
like
yeah.
giants and things like that.
Yeah.
100%.
You know?
100%. Dude, we didn't just evolve in one lineage. Why do you think everybody looks so different skin colors, different nose shapes, stuff like that? It's because we all evolved in different lineages, you know what I mean? We all have a common ancestor that we can trace our own ethnicity back to. We can still interbreed because at the end of the day, we're all the same species, but everybody has a unique ancestor that links them back to the very, very ancient hominids that we evolved from.
Yeah, it's no different than wolves becoming chihuahuas, becoming
Exactly
Great
right, yeah,
Danes,
yeah.
becoming huskies, becoming Rottweilers. Like they're
Selective
all
breeding.
mass difference. Sausage dogs, you know what I mean? They're all massive difference from the same species. So it kind of makes sense that humans, or would you call them humans, or what would you call them? Like the fact that we're all the same species.
Each species of
Humanoid?
has their own humanoid, yeah, but each species of human has their own hominid class or category. Hominid just means standing ape, like standing primate.
Yeah.
And so eventually at a point, every human just stood up and was like, I'm going to walk now. And they just started walking. I don't know, don't ask. Well, actually, I do have theories about that. But anyway, that's how you turned into a hominid. And then from there, you have Homo sapien classes, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalius, stuff like that. The Denisovans, right? Because, like, for example, Aboriginal people have 8 to 10% more Denisovan DNA in their blood than every other human group on the earth.
Denisovan meaning.
Fuck.
Like, what do you mean by Dennis? Like, I've
I don't know if
never
I
heard
can
the
say it because it's probably going to offend a lot of people, but it means caveman.
word. Okay. That make you feel better?
No, there's heaps of different ethnicities have high levels of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like different type of ethnics in the Middle East have high levels of it and shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like an original trace point.
Yeah. Like Mongolians, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
They have a decent amount of it. Some Europeans as well, Eastern Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
They have like this fucking low forehead and shit like that.
So it's just like the more spread out the nationality is across the planet, the less resemblance you'd have of that original thing because you've
Yeah.
just gained up so much.
Exactly.
different-
You've picked up other
parts of
traits from other
evolution and
different,
shit.
you know. Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy, like how much like like humans change and shit.
Yeah.
Like you
bruh.
seen like Somalis? They're actually Caucasians.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you
They're
mean they're
Caucasus.
Caucasian?
So they have long, thin, pointy noses, thin mandibles, like their jaw is pushed in, not pulled out. And so, yeah, he's right. They're technically Caucasian in terms of like the look, but they still have melanated skin. Whereas if you go to somewhere like the Congo and they're more, you know, like their noses are flatter and broader, for example, the mandibles lower, the cheekbones are higher, stuff like that. So, yeah, we do evolve very differently.
I wonder why that's even like why do people evolve in different ways? Does anyone have any theories?
I think it's based off of the two lost continents. Like Lemuria came first and then Atlantis after. Lemuria was controlled by the original populations of Africa and they built up their own civilization and then that was wiped out millions of years ago. And then Atlantis came and that was mainly run by like the Native Americans. And then that got wiped out long ago. And now the last empire of Earth is the Anglo Empire.
Atlantis was Native Americans.
Yeah, for the most part.
What?
Yeah.
How?
But the Atlantis was out.
It was
near the
actually a
desert.
global culture filled with everybody,
Wasn't
but they were
Atlantis
the
is
main
in Africa.
What, the Eye of the Sahara? No, that's bullshit. Atlantis is a whole continent off the Bimini Road, off of Florida coast, in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle.
Greeks talk about Atlantis, but
Yeah, and they talk about it being there. The Bimini Road is the actual road that they built from the Americas connecting Atlantis, and then the continent sunk through the floods.
so if Native Americans ruled Atlantis, really Asians did then.
Yeah, sure.
'Cause
In a way,
fucking
yeah, technically. But it was
DNA-wise,
also like the
yeah.
Mayans and the South Americans and the Egyptians. So Atlantis trickled down into Egyptian time.
Right.
And that's why you see all the pyramids and the Sphinx and stuff like that. Like the Sphinx was recarved over time. It doesn't look like that originally. There was a lion's head originally.
Yeah.
And they carved it to look like their pharaoh, who was Menzies or something at the time. Menzies II. And yeah, so
I reckon the reason why we've all evolved in different ways, just by thinking about it, probably, is because of the environment we were in. So, say for example, Asian people, they'd probably be have to evolve to suit more of like heavy wind and shit blowing off the ground and shit. So their eyes would be a little bit more closed off to protect
what,
their
instead of
eyes
having
from-
two eyelids, they have one.
Yeah, it's like they don't need to have such a wide vision like everyone
That's
else. to be
definitely
able
an
to see
evolutionary trait.
Because there'd be so much shit coming towards their eyes, they'd have to close them based on the environment. Your jaws would probably be set forward or set back based on the type of food you had to eat.
That is true.
Whether how tough the meat would have to be, but like depending on what animals were in that area. And maybe that's obviously the difference in skin color as well, how much exposure you get to the sun.
That's the big one.
So it kind of makes
You
sense.
notice how all the people who are closest to the equator, where the Earth bellies out the most, they're closest to the sun, so they have the darkest skin. And then the northernmost you get and the southernmost you get, except for the Aboriginals, but they were closer to the equator originally anyway. They have lighter skin, right? So you go all the way up to Europe, and then all the cold countries, they got white skin, and then closer to the equator, where you stick
yeah.
out to the sun, you got
Fuck.
dark skin.
Never thought about that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Wow. Fuck, you know so many words too that fucking always just get me. Half the time you're speaking, I think to myself like, I wish I knew that word.
Yeah, you articulate yourself like very good. You say all these words. I'm like, fuck, I know these words, but I can't use them in sentences.
I hear the word and I'm like, I know the word around it.
I know, yeah.
I can play this puzzle.
I can decipher what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does your interest come from? Like what sparked it in the first place to want to learn about things that other people don't want to learn about?
Alternative media and shit, like alternative history and stuff. My dad.
Because let's think about it first. I want to go back to the hollow earth theory of this shape that we're imagining. The only reason for this story to work of this guy flying this plane over Antarctica and entering a cave system would mean that the entire sphere concept that we have is not correct at all.
No, it's a sphere.
but it can't be a sphere that we look at from space, like the globe that we all know, if you're able to fly across the globe and then enter another society without going inside of it. Does that make sense?
But it did go inside.
Maybe it's bigger than what you think then.
No, the Earth. If you're trying to get at the flat Earth theory, please don't.
I'm not trying to get at the flat Earth theory, but it wouldn't be able to work in a sphere sense. You know
Why
what I mean?
not?
There'd have to be a spot for you to enter, right? And what is it? Is there just like a standardized hole that everyone can just happen to see, but you can't see?
Imagine
from
it like
space?
this, yeah? Sorry. Imagine it like this. You had a cave system, right, that went in at an angle, right, at a very, very steep incline. And the further it got in, the more it was covered by the land above it. It can still go around because the Earth is 12,000 kilometers across. You're not going to cover 12,000 kilometers in one cave system, right? So technically, it could look like you're flying straight, but you are still flying down, technically, on a downwards traversal.
It's like a circle maze in a 3D.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah,
form,
yeah, pretty much. We sort of live in a it's like if you would imagine the fourth dimension, right? We live in a cube in a cube.
Being time. So you mean by fourth?
No, like just the fourth physical dimension. You wouldn't know how to imagine it because we are third dimensional beings. But the fourth dimension, it's like looking at something inside of something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like to
that's
look
how I
at our
imagine
reality as a fourth dimensional being. You just see us in this room, and then we're surrounded by what's making up the reality, the projectors of the reality.
I thought fourth dimension was the time factor inside of it. So say you looking at someone's life from birth to death being a 4-dimensional view. You know what I mean? Not the components and fractal fragments that make up of something.
I do get where you're coming
it's
from.
a linear perspective.
I would more call that the fifth dimension, if
Okay.
anything, because time has its own name for its own dimension. It's called the temporal dimension. Temporal literally just means time. And time works in very weird ways. Like, even the way we know it to work, like just generally speaking, you can experience time differently. Everybody experiences time differently. It's like when you think you've had a long day or a short day, that is time genuinely acting differently for you because it's still an energy at the end of the day. We talked about it last time, can't be created or destroyed. Mm-hmm. It's like it's a frequency. Like it functions different for everyone, you know? So you interpret it differently. But at the same time, there's still a constant that's going on. We still live in a timeline, right? And we can shift between timelines. That's what the Mandela effect creates. But at the same time, we're still in this range of timelines where it's like everything's very similar besides like 1 or 2% of things. And like you'll notice it's off by like 1 or 2% one day and you go, oh, that's weird. And you're like,
and is that we're do you say that as if we're constantly floating between these different times?
Yeah, we're traveling through the frequencies.
And is that another way of looking at an alternate dimension then?
Yeah.
Is that what the
Yeah,
multiverse
100%,
kind of
100%.
comes from?
That is a good way of looking at an alternate dimension, but all these dimensions are stacked on top of each other so closely that you don't notice the difference when you enter or exit them. Mm-hmm. And then there's other dimensions as well, like the multiverse theory, the parallel universe theory. They just sit outside of our known universe because our known universe is so big. It is fucking huge. That these extra universes just sit outside of the pocket of our reality, outside of our universe. We'd never get there, but they're still physically out there, just billions of light years that way. And then another me is having this conversation with you right now, doing the exact same thing, but I'm wearing an orange shirt instead of a blue
He's
one.
wearing an actual fucking gift shirt.
I'm wearing the shirt Damon made for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
True. Speaking on time itself, am I the only one that feels like time hasn't slowed down at all for anyone lately, or is it just me?
Bro, it's been going
moving-
super fast.
I mean, slowed down. It's slowed down for you.
No, it hasn't slowed down. You know how every now and then you have a long day or something's like taking forever or...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
I have not experienced that in so long.
If anything, I've been noticing that it's speeding up. You know?
I feel like that. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, it speeds up as you get older because when you're young, 1 year is 100% of your life, right? Mm-hmm. 2 years, a year becomes 50% of your life.
Yeah,
So that's why it seems so long when you're young.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, it's becoming a year's less percentage of your life as you
Good-
get older.
Good
So
point, yeah.
It does make it does make sense.
It's a good way to put it,
I've just
actually.
lived
Very good way to put it.
It was only a small fraction of 1/25 of my life just just took place last year.
Most definitely.
But the fact that it's so small, wouldn't that mean that it would have to feel so long, or what would that mean? It has to.
No,
feel
no, no.
so
It would
fast?
be you're experiencing it as less and less every time because it's less percent of your life every time. So the 100%, you're experiencing it as a journey of 100%. You're 100% completing your life, right? At year 1, year 2 is 50%, year 3 is 33.3%, year 4 is 25%. So it gets shorter and shorter in comparison each time.
But wouldn't it just feel longer because of the fact that I have so many different experiences to relate each moment to, that I'm not only living in the present for 1/25th of that year, I'm living that 1/25th to 1/24th and then 1/23rd and then 1/22nd and 1/21st. Like
No,
I'm
because-
referencing 25 years taking place within that 1 year. You know what I mean? I've got 25 years worth of memories to live through.
But you've already
dreams to
experienced
continue.
it. So now your brain is only really keen on taking in the new memories and the new experiences. And that comes around less and less. So everything is sort of just like a process that your brain goes through and just it's like accepts it and it's done and it moves on again. Whereas before it would have been like in taking this new information, it's like, oh wow, look at this. Let me spend lots of time on it. Let's slow down time for a second and focus on what we just learned. Whereas when you get older, it's like, oh, you know, I've seen that a million times.
Does it freak you out, the fact that we're getting older and time's getting quicker and quicker and quicker? Or
Yes.
Nah, not really.
not? Doesn't freak you out?
Nah.
Just
I
think
mean-
about Christmas, but like being a kid, the month of December was long. 2 days before Christmas was the longest time of my life when I was
Yeah.
a kid.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm like, bro, it's already like what's the date today? It's the 3rd already. You know what I mean? Like I swear it was still November.
I'm scared, bro.
yesterday. I'm-
This
I'm
year has
scared.
gone so fast. Ridiculous. I'm not afraid of death in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I embrace it. But just to have the chance to live on Earth, it's like you don't want to give up even a second.
Yeah.
You know, you're so lucky.
Yeah, I guess it's all about taking advantage of every opportunity you can. But by taking advantage of every opportunity I can, I feel like I'm going faster and faster and faster and faster. Because I don't want to miss out on anything, I'm fucking running out quicker.
That's why
you know?
sometimes you got to slow down.
Yeah,
Got to enjoy the moment.
it's nuts.
If you spend 2024, the whole year doing something you never done, it's going to be a long year for you.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
longer.
Like if you tried to enter a new career, for example, stemming off what you're trying to get at, you'd have a fucking year that felt like 10. You know what I mean? Because you got all these new experiences, meeting all these new people. It's like every day is a new adventure, a new journey, you know? Whereas today we're just going through the routines. We're going through the motions.
That's the confusing part I'm trying to get at, because if I'm constantly doing something new each year, like say I do exactly what you said, 2024 is all about new experiences. Every day is going to feel full and equipped, and by doing that, nothing feels boring or long or slow. Today was such a long day, you know what I mean? When you feel like it's been a long day, it's because you've done something on repeat non-stop for an entire day. Like, then why would that year mean that year went quick if every day felt like a long, boring day? If I was to do something exciting and new every day, how come that year would feel like it was a long 10 years?
Because your brain just takes it as the process, as I said, going through the motions. You're not experiencing anything new, so everything just flies by. It's like maybe in the moment it feels like, oh fuck, this is taking forever. But at the end of the day, you're like, fuck, that flew by. You know what I mean? Because you're experiencing the same shit, so it just becomes a pattern, and your brain recognizes that and goes, yep, we'll just skip over this for now because we can go on autopilot for a little bit.
Yeah, think about the pattern of your daily routine makes it go quicker. So, like, you're going to wake up, you know, brush your teeth, drive to work. That's fucking irrelevant to you. How quick does that fly past?
Yeah.
You're already at work.
Yeah.
You're at your job, you've been doing it for 5 years. It's going to fly by. You're doing something you've already done. If you change your routine, you wake up, you're in the fucking bush somewhere. And then now you're welding underwater. But once you fucking get used to that routine, it's going to go quick now. Then you have to change your routine again, and it's going to take longer. Again.
Exactly.
Maybe it just feels like it's quick though because of the fact that you only have one memory to look back on when you think about that. It was the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
So you try and remember it, and it's like, oh, it's only one memory as opposed to doing something new for 365 days in a row. If you were to do something completely new every day, so say one day you wore red, one day you wore blue, for example, then you would have so many more experiences to remember back on, which is why it's hard for me to wrap my head around the fact
I do get where
that
you're
the
coming
older
from.
I get,
Yeah, I do understand
it
that.
feels like it's going quicker, even though I have so many different things to look back on and think about.
Yeah, yeah. It's also the new thing, right, about the new experiences and then time going slower. I do understand where you're coming from with that. It's like if you have a new experience, you sort of time isn't even a factor in it. You know what I mean? Whereas when you're working and stuff like that and you're going through the motions, time is a big factor. It's like, fuck, when is this day going to be over? But when you're doing new experiences every day and you're meeting new people and shit like that, you don't even look at your watch.
Yeah.
You're going, fuck, how much can I soak up of this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at that same moment, it's like you're trying to take in as much as you can. So then you're trying to, delay the time progression. but you don't notice how quick time's flying by. So it's a bit of both, you know.
I wonder if we're ever going to be able to measure this scientifically, and if it is the theory of you're traveling through timelines, if it is somehow related to the fact that as you're advancing and taking in new information, you're actually reaching and traveling through different more timelines and more dimensions and more universes to be able to attain so much more information. And maybe a new dimension is just a new experience. Maybe that you could only experience something new through a different dimension or timeline. I use abbreviated quotation marks because it's like, it's not really a different dimension. It's just, it feels like it's a new dimension, or we're using a metaphor when we say a different timeline because you're experiencing something new for the first time.
I get that.
I mean, what if we're not really traveling through different timelines? What if it's just by reaching out and gaining more experiences, that's what's affecting this whole timeline continuum in a weird way? This whole thing's fucking honestly hurting my own brain. just me explaining it is annoying me.
Yeah, no, fuck.
I know, it's crazy. I don't want to get older, but the fact that I am getting older, it's just starting to honestly freak me out because time is so hard to grab a hold of. Half an hour is going past in a minute nowadays. I get home from work, it's like, oh, I got 30 minutes before I need to get this thing done. And I fucking take a shit and it's been fucking 30 minutes, bro. What the fuck? I thought I'd get so much time.
We're at it now.
Yeah. Is anyone excited to try anything new next year? I want to start with you, Dame. Anything you want to try and change in your routine?
Nah. Nothing new, bro. Straight up.
What?
Nothing new.
Is that because you're just content and happy with the situation at the moment?
No, because like I want to be doing like the exact same shit I was doing the last couple of years.
And is that like just because you want to be doing it? Like there's nothing.
Yeah. So like I'll fucking obviously next year I'm gonna be like jumping back into fighting, taking it more serious. Like I started going back training. Last couple months.
Nice.
So nothing new. Same shit. Same grind.
Yeah. True. But it's a new gym, I guess. You're not training the same place anymore.
Nah, different gym now.
Yeah. Any shout outs yet, or haven't earned that yet?
Nah, I haven't earned it.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Lion City, bro? Fuck.
I don't
Wasn't
know,
that the
bro.
biggest G up of the podcast
All the
ever?
boys like just fucking.
Yeah, didn't you have the
disappeared.
owner of that guy on the potty?
Yeah.
Everyone's just gone, bro.
Oh, dude.
Their own thing now.
Has gone, bro.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, super sad. Everyone was keen for that gym.
Fucking, bro, this new gym, right? So the first couple weeks, I started sparring and like, I smashed people. So I wasn't training hard. I'm like, I'm fucking better than everyone. I had this fucking ego, right?
Yeah.
And then one guy, he made me work.
Yeah.
He didn't smash me or anything, but he made me work. And I was like, fuck, I needed this.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to train.
Yeah.
Now I'm training properly.
So they can smash this guy.
Yeah, because I'm like my ego first was like, I'm too good. I don't need to train anyway.
Yeah.
I don't need to train hard. And then just having someone make you work and like feed you and like keep up with you.
Makes you realize you can always get better.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck, what a waste of like all this training I'm doing. I'm like, I'm gonna get better now.
Yeah.
And I think like everyone needs that kind of adversity.
Yeah.
Like like different things.
100%.
I experience it at work all the time, dude. I felt like a fucking king when I was in my old company. Like, I swear to God, there was just no offense to any of the boys in my old company if they're listening, but we all had different skills.
They're all shit cunts.
No one could keep up with what
I'm
I
calling
was
them out by
doing.
name.
No one could keep up with what I was doing, but I couldn't keep up with some of the things that they could do. They're two different
call
parts of the
out?
trades. No one's getting a shit.
Fossey?
Fossey. Yeah, I'm sorry, brother. You gotta cop that.
I kept it safe.
Yeah.
What about Mo?
Fuck you, Mo.
No.
Oh, well, I think Christos is working with you now.
Fuck you, Chris. Yeah. But since entering this new company, it's like all of a sudden I got guys above me that fucking kill shit, bro. And I'm like, I'm a dumb little fucking pest, bro, that just cannot even keep up. Haven't got anywhere near the most skill. Haven't got anywhere near the most work ethic. No part of it. But I see these cunts and it's like, fuck, I need to get better than this cunt. There's no fucking way I can go another couple of years being not as good as this cunt. So I agree with you. You need to have someone better than you so you can push yourself to become the best version of yourself.
Motivation.
Yeah, it's fucking, I love it, but I love it when someone's better than me because it's that challenge, bro. It's that like, yes, kind of got something to do now. I got something to work towards. Yeah. What about you? Doing anything new next year?
Yeah. Try and finally actually get my gun license properly. That's like my big thing. I'm buying a boat I want to buy my uncle's. He's got like a wave seafaring tinny with a big Yamaha engine on the back of it. Beautiful boat.
Seafaring, so you can take a tinny out to sea.
To see if you want. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, it's big,
Nice.
4-seater.
Oh, I didn't even think
I'd
about
love to take us
sea.
out, bro, one day, bro.
Can we just go to Antarctica and like try and get through?
Oh, bro,
we'll just sneak to bro. Doxcast expedition. We just need to see for ourselves because I hear all this shit about Antarctica.
We're going, bro.
We just
We're
need
going.
to go and find out.
I'm telling you now, we're leaving from Tasmania and we're going straight down to Antarctica.
We just gear up, bro. Take on anyone that stops us. Like, nah, fuck it.
That's it, bro.
We're making this trip.
Get a
bro.
few whale spears. That's it. We're good. We're good.
fucking-
Let's think.
Old
What
days
do we
explorers.
actually need if we want to try and get to Antarctica? Because I'd love to do it one day. We will set a destination one day. Of
By
Antarctica.
ourselves or on a trip?
Just us. Like, what would we need? Like, how big of a boat?
Oh,
to
you know,
start with?
honestly, I reckon we get the old school like canoe tops that the Pacific Islanders were traveling the seas on.
Oh, scary, cunt.
I say that because
You're not
you're
going
more likely
coastlines.
to fly under the radar on that than in a fucking ship.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but what about fucking being able to be thermally protected when you
No,
get
it's not
there?
just that. When they sailed those canoes to the new islands and stuff, they were sailing coastlines because they were the continents were closer at the time. Now we're crossing vast seas.
crossing the
ocean,
ocean.
bro.
Maybe they went from fucking Hawaii to fucking Samoa.
When
and
Hawaii
that.
was like here to Australia,
No,
they went
can-
around the
they
coast.
tested it now. There's a current that takes you from Hawaii.
Yeah, it drags you. I've seen that one as well.
So-
But that was still closer to the coastlines than what we'd be doing going to Antarctica. That stretch between Tasmania and Antarctica is some of the deadliest ocean you could ever cross.
How wild a current.
And how
to
cold
just
it would
jump
be.
in a current from Hawaii.
And just sail there. Just sail there.
On a fucking bit
But
of
no, they were
bamboo,
skilled. They
bro.
were skilled sailors, man, for fucking 100,000
Don't give a
years
fuck
ago.
how skilled
they
you are.
used
That's
the stars to guide them. And
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
bro, they were like some of the best sailors.
They
Now,
didn't
where
have
do they end up?
magnets
Where do
or
these Hawaiians end up? Like, where are we saying this current takes them to?
Fiji, Cook Islands,
Oh, that's where
Samoa,
they come
Tonga.
Yeah,
That's
All the
why-
islands, all the
that's why
Pacific
there's
Island
Pacific
nations.
Islanders in Hawaii because that current.
Yeah.
So they fucking followed it.
They're the
up.
same. They're the same phenotypically. They're the same people.
So you know the
Yeah.
word, like phenotypically. Come on, bros. That's so good. Like, I love that you bring these words. Phenotypically. Have I ever heard that? No. Will I ever hear it again? No.
Yeah,
Phenotypically.
I'll say it again.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's the most outrageously adventurous thing I've ever heard in my life. Jumping on a current in a fucking little what they make
dinghy.
it out of? Like, fucking probably grass and
Tree-
shit, eh?
tree
Like,
trunks.
Tree trunks.
Yeah,
Yeah, and just setting
carved
sail,
them.
bro.
They were good carvers, bro. They could carve this shit with just one clean carve the whole wood out.
Wow.
Solid.
What were we getting at? Oh, yeah, Antarctica. So where do you reckon that would be the best place to get it from? Like, where would we have to leave from Tasmania, or is there a
Yeah.
better
Now what we
place?
do, we go to the fucking shipyard up in Sydney. We just hijack a ship, bro. We just like
Yeah.
straight through, kick down doors.
Yeah. I like the way your brain goes
Straight,
to
yeah,
that, you know
straight
what I
out,
mean?
straight to the captain's room. I am the captain now.
We just get a couple Somalis, bro. They know how to take a ship, bro. We just pay some Somalis. Hey, I need you to drive a boat for us. This guy out here like,
They're like,
oh,
what is the boat? What is the boat?
That would
Like,
be
you'll
so
see,
good.
You'll see,
You'll
when we
see
get
it,
there,
brother,
mate.
you'll
It's all
see
the
it, don't
same.
worry.
It's all the same,
It's
bro.
all the same. Where we going? You'll see, brother. Don't
We
worry.
take HMAS Queensland for a fucking joyride.
Turn around or we will open fire.
Yeah,
fuck.
nice. I like that. So
Solid idea.
let's just say realistically, if we were to get our own boat, right? We're not
Yeah.
taking a fucking, unless it was like a docking ship or something. But as you said, we don't want to go. We want to go under the radar.
And you
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
you need an icebreaker too, realistically speaking.
Yeah,
You need something that could break the ice. Like there's only some ships used to get stuck in the ice and then the crew would just die there because they couldn't break through the ice. Whereas they've got ships now that literally split the ice in front of you so that you can always get through it. And like even our current, like some aircraft carriers and stuff like that wouldn't make it through the ice. You've got the specific icebreaker ships
Yeah.
that are only designed to do that.
Great invention. Wonder if you'd have to like make it heated as well. Would you have to like heat it up, or is it just a certain type?
I
of
don't know
sharpness?
how it's insulated or anything, but I do know it's the bow. Is it the bow that's the front or the stern? The stern is the front
Call
of
it
the
a
ship.
stern, I think.
I think stern's the back because that's where you control the boat.
Yeah, I think
Stern's
you're
where you
right.
control it.
Let me see.
Bow doesn't sound like the front.
Yes, you're right. The stern is the back.
So look up what's the front of the boat called.
The bow.
The bow is the front.
Yeah.
That's a stupid word.
And then you've got aft left and aft right.
All right, so let's get ourselves a boat. Head there. What about supplies? What's the necessities that we need?
Look, I don't think we get in there by boat. we get stopped. We just get them Yamaha paragliders
Oh,
with the fucking motor on the back,
yeah.
and we fucking
What,
sneak
like the Hamas cunts when they jump
yeah,
with the parachute? I'm getting there.
We just wear a couple North Face jackets, bro. We're sorted.
Got a backpack on, got a fucking jet propeller on the back of it. You're sweet. Good to go. Yeah,
That's
fuck
mad.
yeah.
I don't know, bro. Is it possible for us to get there? He's a fucking
Hot air balloon.
Hot air balloon.
Hot air balloon. Like China sent to America. That got there undetected, apparently. I reckon we could get to Antarctica undetected.
Good point.
No
If
dramas.
that could get there undetected, bro, fuck.
Which, by the way, is the biggest bullshit.
Yeah, they knew about it. They fucking just.
Of course they did. It's their own balloon.
Yeah.
Of course it is, bro. Are you serious? I put that shit together.
Maybe it's not. Maybe, do you reckon it's possible to get there by plane? If you were to get a
They
plane,
just
like,
landed the first Boeing 747 in Antarctica on the runway they built off
The
ice.
runway's fucked.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like, you actually got to be a good pilot. to
Very
land
good.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were just like one of those
Like, if we just
journeyman
took a
pilots
plane,
from
We ain't
Dubai.
landing, we
No.
crashing.
We dead. We dead.
Yeah, true. Because once we get there, we also got to get back.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't just live there
But
forever.
what if we find out, like, all this fucking paradise
And they
is
accept.
better?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
but that's
accept
a
you
big
in this
what if,
society.
bro. That's like Hawaiian type of
No,
fucking
like-
shit right there, bro. I don't know if I'm one of those current type people, bro. That's pretty crazy.
Well, you know, it could be a better life. They might accept us in.
And if it's not, it's not.
If it's not, we take over. Fuck them.
Of course it is.
I
but-
challenge their fucking leader.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
It's
die in
fucking-
combat, go to Valhalla.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose I don't know. I'd like to be able to just at least just clear the air in my own head about the whole thing. The whole thing is just there's too many variables, bro. I love these theories of the fucking the Nazis being Antarctica first, and there being a zoo. What's those places?
Most of it's not really
Asgard.
theory anymore, though.
It
Most-
is though. A lot
most-
of it's theory.
Not a, no, but
If we're
not
talking
a,
about like Asgard and fucking
yeah, that
all
sort of
these
shit is
things.
still, you can still consider that theory. But then you talk about the Nazis and their UFOs and stuff like that. That's not theory anymore. That's fact.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
How would
Like
you
it's
consider it to be fact?
it's guaranteed. Like Werner von Braun, the head of the moon missions and NASA, he created NASA. Do you know who Werner von Braun is?
It was the Nazi.
He was
guy.
a Nazi. Operation Paperclip. They brought him over 1946. What happens? Bing bang boom. He creates NASA. He's the head of NASA even to this day. They've got him on the plaques and everything.
Is he not
right?
dead?
He's quoted on his deathbed saying,
Oh, yeah.
"They are prepared to stage the largest alien invasion you'll ever see in your life." That's Werner von Braun saying that. You know what I mean? He literally said that to his daughter before he died. He's like, "I'm
How
not."
long ago did he die?
Oh, probably 15, 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was on his deathbed and he's like, yeah, they are really ready to do this shit. All that's, we've known about that, you know what I mean? The Germans had that tech, you know, who knows where they got it from. Apparently the first crash was in Italy in 1937 or something. And they dug that technology up, and because the Germans were developing so quickly with their war efforts because they were surrounded on all fronts, they were developing all this technology. Where do you think they got the tech for the jet fighters? No one even knew what a jet fighter was. You seen that video of the two Americans in their normal engine planes, their prop planes, and then a German jet fighter screams past like, "Meow," and they're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
They're like, holy shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, they had that tech before anybody else. They developed nukes and rockets before us. That's the only reason that the Americans were able to develop the nukes before the Germans, is because they stole their information off them, and they had German scientists working on it.
Did you just watch Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer? I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't watched it yet either.
I'm
Apparently
very,
it's really good.
I'm very keen to watch it.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
a little bit disappointed I haven't watched it.
yeah, same.
Keen to watch
I'm an
it.
idiot. I should have seen it in the movies because apparently that was a spectacle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Christopher Nolan directed Interstellar, and he
Okay.
directed
You know, I
Oppenheimer
haven't even
too.
watched Interstellar. Yeah, haven't even watched
Same.
No.
Really? You haven't watched it either?
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, boys, I gotta go.
Guys, we're going to take a quick pause. We're going to go watch Interstellar real quick.
Holy shit! No, okay, you've got to watch
Yeah.
Interstellar. Yeah, no, that's that's the closest depiction to what a black hole would be like and look like, and all the science in it is pure, right? He researched this shit to a T. So like when the wormhole opens up and they travel through it and they
So
get,
that's what it's about. I don't even know. So it's about traveling.
it's
through
about Earth running out of resources for the most part, and they have to send someone. So what happens is they get a message, right? But they can't decipher it. But then a wormhole opens up in our solar system out of nowhere, and they think it's someone on the other side of the galaxy trying to tell us, "Come, we'll save you." You know what I mean? Like another civilization. So they send a ship through it, and they've scouted 7 planets that they think are habitable for the humans'
Also,
future.
they make it through.
Yeah, they make it
And
through.
then they're exploring this.
And they're
other solar
exploring
system.
this other side of the wormhole, They get to one planet. It's a wave planet. The waves are like 1,000 kilometers tall.
Wow.
Half the crew dies. They get to another planet where time is 1 hour there and 7 years on Earth, and they spend 2 hours there, so 14 years passes. And then they get to another planet where it's 30 minutes is like 100 years, and every minute they're there, there's like a surreal scene where like his daughter's growing up and his dad dies and all this shit. It's fucked up, but it's all real science because that's how the time differential works.
How so I don't know if would you be able to explain to me how that could possibly make sense? Is it just because when they say say they have their watch they take from Earth to there and their watch is counting 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute back home, even though watch is doing 3 minute, it's actually been 100 years. Or does it just feel like a minute for them?
The explanation in the show is they were very close to a black hole, so time dilation was different on every single planet. So that was near one of the biggest black holes in the universe where the movie took place in that specific solar system. So the time dilation was different closer you got to the black hole. That's how they explained it. How the actual explanation goes is just that you see what's happening in the past out there, so that if you were to ever travel through a wormhole, you're skipping all the time that you would have taken to get there traveling in the light speed in a normal engine, right? Where you could get there in 4 years, 4 years would pass. If you got there in a second, 4 years would still pass. It's just because you're folding the fabric of space. And as I described it last time, you take a pin and you just travel through the hole and then space folds back open again. That's real science. The wormholes are real. They open up all the time in space. We just can't see them.
The fact that you're piercing through time and time has still taken place isn't real science, or is that just...
No, it is real science. I just don't know how to articulate it into better words than what I'm trying to do right now.
Because then you're not piercing through...
You're piercing through space-time.
You're time traveling. You're not piercing
Essentially,
through nothing.
yeah.
You're just time traveling.
Imagine it like this. It's like when the paper folds, everything sort of pauses at the top, but then when it bellies out again, everything unravels again. And so everything that would have happened still takes place. That big journey in the ship takes place across all that thing, but you just got there first. You know what I mean? But the time still took place and everything. So once the wormhole closes, everything snaps back to normal. Mm-hmm. It's like time dilation once again.
Time is different in space as well. Like all the astronauts experience time different. So half an hour, I don't know the exact, what it is to what it is.
Yeah.
Like the exact ratio. They're out there 3 hours. Really, it's been like fucking 4 for us or something like that.
Yeah.
But even that is hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, what makes it 3 hours for them? Just the way it feels?
Density once again.
Or...
how heavy the sun is in the space-time fabric. Because the space is fabric, essentially. That's how Albert Einstein described it. And that's how you're able to tear through it.
But the problem is, right, is that time is a man-made human construct.
The way we
There's
view it,
nothing real about a
the way
3
you
hour
view it,
or
but
a
time
4
is
hour.
passing no matter what.
No matter what, yeah.
Time is not even
We
passing
didn't
no matter
invent
what.
time. We invented how to keep track of it.
Yeah.
No, we invented time.
No,
the only thing that is happening is
how to
we're
keep
moving
track of it.
forward. We're moving forward linearly.
I get what you're
linearly.
saying. You're saying that actions create time. Like you doing something produces the future event. But time is still progressing no matter what. The Earth and the solar system isn't static, right? We're flying through space at 1,000,000 miles an hour right now. It's just that the sun's gases and winds protect the whole solar system.
But that isn't time.
That's still movement.
But that's movement.
Time's still passing.
Yeah, but wouldn't you consider that the
passing.
action creating the future? Nonetheless, how we do it in our reality, when we create time, it's a man-made construct, watches and everything. Action creates the future. Isn't the sun just doing the same thing on a much larger scale, moving forward, therefore creating the future?
I guess technically it's creating the future, but time is completely separate from movement. There's no just because the solar system is.
So then, how is it a man-made construct?
Because we've invented a way to count. If there was no such thing as numbers and a numerical system that we've just by going 1, 2, 3, we would never have time.
We'd
we
also
never
still be
had
monkeys.
to invent 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but we could still be monkeys, and it doesn't mean time is still happening. If we were still monkeys, it doesn't mean time has been taken place. It just means that things are moving forward. It doesn't mean that there's such thing as time.
So what would you call it then?
You know, you're thinking of time of like it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or hours and shit. When you're talking in like the terms of universe, time is like a measurement type thing. Like
Yeah, that's what
Like
I'm
stars
saying.
die, for example, right? They have lifespans, million, billion years, 5 billion years, but they die eventually. They run out of their own gas enough to produce their own fusion inside the center, and then they just die, right? How does that happen unless things are progressing? Time is progressing, you know what I mean? If time was stagnant, there would be no death in the universe, you know what I mean? And then there would just be no universe.
But then time is just another word for saying movement.
No.
Because the star dying is just it moving.
If that helps you wrap your head around it, then yes.
But in that sense, the whole piercing through and the whole idea of astronauts having a slower time than us isn't that. For some reason in my head,
It's
I'm
not
not
really
saying
real.
it's not real.
Yeah, I know
I'm
what
just
you're. I know what you're saying.
can't
I do.
understand how that could possibly be real.
You're saying that time has to be an extra energy that we can quantify, right? That even if we can't see it, we still have to be able to quantify it. They can quantify time. In fact, they've done it before. Like quantifying time is a frequency nonetheless. That's what I believe, right? Time is just a frequency because there's energy, matter, and then there's frequency as well. Like we're built up of frequency and vibrations too. Time is a frequency, right? So that's why you can experience it differently in different parts of the universe. We can't quantify it physically, but we can quantify it. I think it's through not particle acceleration, but there is something else that they can do. They can actually quantify the movement and measurement of time in the wavelengths of the universe, right? They can see it moving. And that's how time travel works, right? So I don't know if you've ever heard of the chronovisor. No. The chronovisor is a device that has been reported on since the early 20s even, right? That apparently the church commissioned a bunch of scientists, engineers, and priests to build the chronovisor in the Vatican to be able to see into the past. It's not something you can travel into the past with, but they can pick up on radio waves that have, because when matter and energy and thought is created, it sends out all these radio waves. We talked about it last time. Mm-hmm. They can re-pick that up in the universe somewhere, wherever it's traveled to, and capture it on the chronovisor and build an image out of it. And they say that they built the images of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, Napoleon's speech at the Battle of Waterloo. They built all these images of historical things that happened, and they watched it in the chronovisor. And the chronovisor is, again, another conspiracy theory.
So why they still make Jesus white?
But they, because he wasn't black. He wasn't. He wasn't pure white blonde hair.
Arab,
he was an Arab, but he was actually a Semite, a Jew.
Which they look Arabic. Come on, like just dumb it down.
Yeah.
They do share a lot of similarities.
A lot of similarities, sure. But then you got Arabia and the Middle Eastern Peninsula is a very diverse place. It's the cradle of civilization. So it's like back then you wouldn't know what those people would have looked like. You know what I mean? You don't know if they were white, black, yellow, green, orange, red. You just wouldn't have known. So no one can comment on his skin color.
So you piece it together by the descendants of that land now.
Sure. But then they also say that Jesus wasn't really phonetically related to the Arabs. He was more related to the Phoenicians and the Assyrians,
which they too.
But when you look at them, they
look different to Arabs,
exactly.
Right? But they have similarities.
If there are similarities as well, and that's why I don't believe in any of that shit.
We're forgetting, right? If you're God and you're gonna come back and live amongst men, you're gonna be white. Right? You're gonna
I'm God.
Come on, guys, come on.
No, he's not white. He's not blonde hair, blue eyes.
But what I'm saying is, in time travel, all you're doing is, because time is just a concept that we've used to help organize ourselves, we are moving forward through space, that time itself is irrelevant. We are still moving forward through space, whether you want to throw the word time in there or not.
So what would you quantify as the driving force, that frequency that drives us?
Movement. It's just heat. Heat, is there anything that moves us through the universe at all? It's heat. Heat is what builds anything. As soon as you remove heat, time stops. That's another way of saying life ceases to exist. When stars die, when you stop moving your body for a long period of time, when you start to get towards the ice in Antarctica, time stops, which means that heat has stopped existing.
We still have to quantify it.
So to go back in time, right? It's another way of saying you've gone back into the position in which we were in that period of our own universe. You've gone back to that exact location. You haven't gone back in time, you've gone back to a location. So you don't have to have time ever. You never have to have the word time in any scenario. Even time travel is just location traveling. You just, instead of traveling around across the earth into a different continent, you're traveling the entire earth back into its position it was in the universe.
That is true. Yeah, that is actually true. I get where you're coming from, and I sort of do agree with that in a sense. Like, it's not really time as much as it, because everything is sort of all happening at once in a way, whether it's out in the universe elsewhere in a different radio wave that we can't see, or happening here right now. but we still quantify it as we use the word time. But there surely is another word that the crazy alien beings use that they'd know much better than us about. But we still have to use the word time for it. You know what I mean?
But that's why it's just hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that some people can experience time.
I'll give you like
differently.
a easier way to wrap your head around it, right? So if we get the exact same watches right now, we set them the exact same time. Doesn't matter if it's the real time or not. It's just going to count, right? The exact same brand, they're going to count the same seconds.
Yeah.
You stay here in Australia with that watch. I'll go travel the world. We meet up after a year. Our watches aren't going to be in sync. It's the exact same brand. They're ticking the
proven
exact
as
same
well.
speed. Our watches aren't going to be matched because we've experienced time differently.
I would understand that. In that, actually, that makes sense to me if I refer that to age. And the only reason that your watches would be able to work would separate from the same, what's the word, like they're not equal anymore, was because you've entered different magnetic places in the earth, and sometimes you've
true.
got a stronger force, which is making it either be faster or slower. And then that would mean that you would have to age differently too, based on your circumstances, which is why maybe some people in space feel like time's being taken place differently because there's different
It doesn't
forces.
feel like it's differently. It just is different.
Is
They-
that in
they
relation
can't tell
to
a difference.
aging? But is that in relation?
No, they just you can't tell the difference. That times move different. It just does.
Although the cells in space do age slower.
yeah, that's
Like
what,
in
that's
your
why
body,
it would
when
make sense.
mitosis happens, the cells split slower by like half. But they wouldn't know whether or not you're actually living longer in space. You could be. Like, I think they tried to propose a theory in the Soviet Union when that's still a thing. They were like, we're going to send a baby up there. We're going to have it live its whole fucking life in space.
Oh my
and see
God.
how different it is when it comes back.
That's a great idea, but
Bro, when it got to Earth, it'd collapse under its own
Die,
weight.
yeah,
Yeah, it would
when
die.
it comes back to Earth.
It would be good in space, but when it gets back, its spine would go crap. Shit, I'm not used to the gravity. You know what I mean?
True.
But it would be a cool theory to test.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's humane in any way, shape, or form. Please don't send babies to space.
Maybe never
we
bring
can
it back.
sacrifice a few.
Just a couple, right? Just a couple.
Yeah, true.
Oh, Lord.
Sacrifice some white babies. There's
You know what? We got enough, eh? We got enough.
enough
Yeah,
of them.
yeah I'm happy to forfeit one.
Oh, forfeit yours.
Maybe you could just like measure it there. Just have a constant video and shit like that. You know, they never need to bring it back down. And
You
just
know-
have it monitored.
You know the USSR, they left a dog and a monkey in space that are still out there now.
Yeah, that's they made a Marvel. They made a Marvel
Character out of it,
named
yeah. What's his
something the
name?
dog.
Piotr. No.
No, it's called like Luna or
Yeah,
something
Luna,
like
that's
that.
it. Yeah, Luna the dog.
They actually have it in Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's in the it's in the movie and it's in the game.
the collector collects him. What was that dog's name? Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm just having a look now.
Cosmo.
Cosmo. It is
that's it.
Yeah.
So much smarter than me, Damon. Fuck's sake, I'm off. I'm out of the podcast.
Fucking Jamie sucks.
Yeah, what a shit, Jamie.
I know, right? I want to be Jamie so bad for this podcast, but I'm not good.
Jamie
Nah.
would have wore a shirt.
He would have.
Jamie's not allowed on screen.
He would have. If you could time travel anywhere back in time, where would you go?
I think you know my answer.
You go to Viking area?
Yeah.
Yeah. What part would you like to try and conquer by? Would you like to be the early stages when they first started to travel the seas, or like be in the middle of the
Nah,
fleets
I
when they were like
wanna
going
be-
through London, England, France?
I'd say I'd like to be in the England area when they're warring with England, killing off all the kings of each kingdom.
It's pretty
The Great
crazy.
Heathen Army. Be part
Great
of that.
heathen army.
Be part of that.
Gang
but
shit.
I'd also like to be part of the Vikings that went into the Middle East and shit. Into the
Oh, yeah,
Byzantine
yeah.
Empire. That'd be cool.
It's pretty crazy that they were actually able to do so much damage for England and shit when you think about it. Like the English had so much more advanced armory and weaponry and shit, compared to the
Nah.
Vikings. Didn't they have full, in that period of time, weren't they already like in their medieval stages? Or was that
They had better
hundreds of years?
steel. They were better with steel working. But the Vikings just took the fucking... all the
Yeah, Vikings were
blacksmiths.
pillagers. They were tribal.
They'd just take
They
it.
just took. They didn't make anything really. They
And
did.
then they'd fucking take the smiths and they learned how to become smiths.
Yeah,
like that.
they would consume them into Viking culture and they
Yeah.
would become Vikings themselves, all part of the Viking culture. Not everyone was a Viking. They just lived in the Nordic, in that culture, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a good answer. Viking era, very cool.
What about yourself?
25,000 BC.
25,000.
Yeah, just at the peak of Atlantis. Because it's before the Younger Dryas,
I was
obviously.
going to say, said
Double.
first human,
It's
but that's a
double.
different theory.
So
huh?
that's the antediluvian civilizations, which we know existed because we've got time dials that are 100,000 years old dated. We've got a hammer that's 1,000,000 years old. We've got skulls that have bullet wounds from like 375,000 BC.
Really?
Yeah. All over the museums, all over the world, they've dated this shit. That's why when I say shit like this and people go theory this, that, it's like, if you actually look into it and piece it together yourself, it's not even that far-fetched. You don't have to go over here and connect the dots. It's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like when you look at it and you
The
don't even
evidence
look
is
at it.
being presented to us at a constant
Exactly
rate.
right. And it's just that we're so stupid, at least in this current state of humanity, this current epic that we're living in. We're so dumb we don't even know how to interpret that information. And that's not our own fault. Like, we're dumbed down for a reason, for a purpose.
Do you reckon it's really that we're dumbed down, or do you reckon that our human capacity is only so limited in which we can only compare a certain amount of distance away from our own existence anyway? Maybe it's harder for us to to grab onto the fact that there's things that are so old in human existence if everything around us is only such a few recent decades old anyway.
That's
there's
part
not a
of
single
it.
thing in our society that's over 200 years old anyway.
But we're sort of also on an evolutionary back curve, which means that we've sort of hit the curve and now we're going down again. Because evolution doesn't cap, right? Like, not cap as in lie, as in it doesn't hit a peak, right? So you can keep going and evolving, and eventually, I think I described this last time, how we turn into light beings where there's no other place for our evolution to go but that. It's the same thing with the downslide. You can start going backwards in evolution because you're stagnating. There's nothing going on, right? Like, there's no
I wouldn't say
predator.
going backwards.
Well, not necessarily backwards, but we are stagnating, right?
We're not stagnant. We're getting worse. Evolution, like, physically, humans are getting worse.
That's what I mean. That's what the back curve is.
Yeah.
The back curve is us
It's
turning
not going
into...
backwards. Going backwards would be getting better.
All right, but a back curve just means that on a graph, it's like going down. It's not going
The
backwards
down
again.
curve,
The
down
down
curve.
curve. Yeah, sorry. A bit
Yeah.
better than that.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's like we're de-evolving in a different direction now. And so our brains, they've noticed, as I talked about, calcifying, means that they're hardening.
I don't know if de-evolving is actually a right word to describe it either.
It's
because
not.
we're
It's still evolving. It's just
Yeah.
evolving shitter.
Exactly, but that is de-evolving in a way. Because
really?
we should be going further in evolution.
Nah,
towards-
because we're not physically doing
The
the
labour.
activities
Exactly,
to
therefore
keep our
we've been
bodies peak.
stagnated.
But that's not de-evolving.
We're evolving now for our bodies just to be like fucking useful.
No, okay, yeah,
for
no,
what they
I say
do.
de-evolve, that's wrong, because then we'd be taking away the stuff that helps us survive,
Yeah.
right? So
we are just a product of our environment.
we're evolving in a bad way. We're taking the bad evolutionary
Yes.
line, right? But at the same time, we can change that. It's just that we also have to change the way we live in our environment and stuff
Yeah.
like that. We've been set up in these 15-minute cities to become fat and squishy. But it's not just about that, because technically, if you want to talk about it in its purest form, we're meant to be technologically advanced hunter-gatherers. Really. We're meant to have high levels of technology mixed with our spiritualism, but we're still meant to keep the family unit hunter-gatherer style. We're not meant to live like this in these mega conglomerate cities.
I've
You know
got to
what
stop
I mean?
you. We can't say that. We can't say this is what we're meant to be doing and what we're not meant to be doing. We don't even know if we're on our right path to become what
Well,
we're
this
meant to
isn't
be,
the right path.
or if we're on the complete wrong path from the get-go. Maybe we were never meant to learn how to manipulate.
I should preface it by saying that's what I believe. Then, if
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
case,
True,
we
true.
are. Yeah.
True. All we have ever been as humans is a product of our environment. We haven't got any control on... We have got a control now as we start to become more advanced technologically, but as we were talking about before, we've only developed to the eye shape we have, the jaw we have, the bone structure, the skin melatonin levels. Melatonin isn't the right words.
Melanin.
Melanin, yeah. Because of the environment we're in. And now because we have such strong buildings and we're wearing shoes, our feet are not as better anymore, and we've probably got a better reason to be leaning back into our necks because we have to look so much higher at all the things we need to look up at. So it's like, are we really going to be... We're not really becoming worse as we go on through time, because there's no such thing
I'll talk
as
about worse purely in physical.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about
Because-
the physical.
Like, we're fucking made to be doing activities, like certain activities.
That's
like
what
if you look at dogs, right? Dogs still have the behaviors for what they were evolved for. So dogs, you think, oh, my dog keeps digging. Well, what kind of dog do you have? Or what's the dog that used to burrow and take rabbits? Mm-hmm. You can't help it. Mm-hmm. My dog loves to run. He fucking just takes off. What breed was he? He's a husky. Well, they're fucking running all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they're like evolved for a reason. And if you're not fulfilling that reason, you're getting worse.
But maybe we were never even bred as humans. To say we were made to be doing activities isn't even necessarily true, because we just happen to be doing activities to lead us to the bodies in which we had at the time. Now we only happen to be doing the activities to lead us to the bodies we have now.
Yeah, and our bodies are worse than what they were 50 years. You can see it now. Compared to 50 years ago, our fucking
like
testosterone,
aesthetics and
testosterone is lower than our grandparents' testosterone at our age. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Males
true.
now have a lower testosterone than them.
It's because of all the microplastics we consume.
It's also because of the fact that we're not consuming enough.
We're not as
energy
physical
and
as what
shit,
they were
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, we're not burning enough energy.
We're
Hunting,
not eating
running.
the same they were
Yeah,
eating.
it's all the
enough
shit in
lead.
our
We're not
food,
living.
drinking
We're
air.
not living how they were living.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Much more
do you reckon
natural.
if you were to take a guy today who's a full gym fanatic who looks after his body, squats once or twice a week, creates all the natural testosterone that his body needs, do you reckon he would have less than, say, someone who lived back in the Viking era or
Yes.
something? He would
Yeah,
have
yeah,
less.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, for sure. Dude, there's
And
stories
it's not
of...
the gym that's gonna fucking change it. It's just how you live. Like for
Lifestyle.
example, Francis Ngannou, right? He is like so fucking strong. He developed that because he worked in the sand mines.
Yeah,
He grew up digging sand.
yep.
You can't build his strength in the gym. You build that from how you lived.
By the way, just quick shout out Francis Ngannou. His story is insane, bro. He
Yeah.
went from the Cameroonian sand mines working to feed his family, where you got to work 14 hours a day digging sand out of these fucking huge mounds, bro. As he said, that's how he got so big genetically, just a fucking freak of nature. Not just that, he traveled all across Africa, all the way into Europe, was homeless in France for like 6 months before he got the chance at MMA or anything like that. Started training, was naturally gifted at it. Like, this guy could lock up a Kimura and he didn't even know how to wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, he was good. But the power, obviously, is where it came
Is he
from.
the guy that got fucking dropped off in the middle of a desert to be left for dead? Or was that another guy? Was that
Yeah, I think so. They turned him around. So
Yeah,
on his way
yeah.
up, trying to go to France,
Yeah.
they turned him around and sent him back.
Yeah, because he was with human traffickers, bro. They were trying to get, like, because those people are scum, bro. Those human traffickers, they don't care about what your reasons are for leaving your country. They're just like, yep, money, cool.
Yeah.
If you die in the back of my truck, I don't give a fuck. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, they dropped him off and he had to walk all the way from the desert to France.
Bruh.
And now he's arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, heavyweight of UFC history. Arguably beat the lineal heavyweight champion Tyson Fury in a boxing match when he's never boxed in his life.
Completely forgot about
Made Tyson look like a fucking bitch. You know what I mean? I like Tyson Fury too. I'm not trying to say this as like putting him down. I like Tyson Fury. But Francis fucking put it on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Francis got the bag, bro. He got paid, what, like 10, 15 million for that fucking fight, bro? Ridiculous money.
Is he still allowed back in the UFC after that?
He's with PFL now. But even though Dana White says we don't co-promote, I have a feeling that in the future, they will make that Jones and Ngannou fight. They have to, bro. That's the
But it
large.
has to happen next
to
3
happen,
years
bro.
because he's old.
They both are. It has
Yeah.
to happen, bro.
And then if it doesn't happen by 2026,
It won't happen.
I don't think it's happening.
Because John Jones will retire after his next couple fights.
Yeah.
I don't reckon he'll retire immediately after Stipe, but I do think he'll fight Stipe, and he's not scared of any of these champions. He'll beat Sergey, Tom, everyone. John Jones
He
is
beats
the
everyone,
fucking
to be
goat,
honest,
bro.
yeah.
Doesn't matter who or what you put in front of him, he'll beat it. And his wife included.
Yeah, sentence.
But yeah, no, John Jones is the goat, man. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
I love him.
How do we get to fucking this? What were we talking about
talking
before?
about like evolution.
Genetics and shit.
Yeah.
And how you're like, Francis is a
Bro,
freak of nature.
You pick Francis, you take him as a kid, bring him to America, you train him for MMA, and you keep Francis there doing what he was doing. The Francis that was doing what he's doing is still going to be stronger than the new one.
Beats the Francis who was in America. Yeah,
I
100%.
remember because you were saying that we've gone backwards in a term of physically.
Yes.
Our
Yeah.
evolution as humans. Yeah, I do agree if we want to talk about capability Yeah, you're right. Because they're not as capable of doing things as we used to be.
Well, it's like this, right? If we did truly evolve from monkeys originally, like primates, which is true, we are primates in essence, right? 99% DNA match. Why
Is it
can't we do?
99%?
Yeah, it's actually higher,
thought it
like
was a
99.97 or something like
Wow.
that. Bro, look at us, right? We're standing primates at the end of the day.
Apparently, we have the same ratio as a genetics to a banana.
Yeah, it's actually higher relation to a banana and mushrooms. We came from mushrooms as well.
Yeah, I know that that's our closest mushroom.
Yeah, but if that's true, and just looking at them, we are very similar to them. No matter if you're, if you consider yourself, oh, I'm the best human there is, or the lowest human there is, whatever. How come we can't do the same shit as them? They're so much stronger than us. Like a chimp would rip you apart, no problem, bro.
Yeah,
Take the biggest, strongest bodybuilder you have, or the best MMA fighter in the world. Chimp who's just fucking been eating bananas his whole life, rips you apart, rips your arms off, and starts beating you with it. That's what a chimp can do. Swings from trees all day, fucking fights panthers and lions and shit like that.
Yeah.
And we, even when we did evolve into hominids, fair enough. Like, for example, you look at certain African people, right? Their bone density is that much stronger. Like Deontay Wilder puts a hit on you, you go dead, bro. You go to sleep. That bone density is still there, but we don't swing from trees. We can't fucking, you know what I mean? Like our feet can't grip anymore. Our feet are like literally only used for walking now. That's why our toes are so stubby. As you said before, our feet changed. We started wearing shoes. They enclosed our feet. That's why the fucking pinky toe is like all
So
deformed and shit.
constructed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, physically we have gotten better and worse in some ways, but it's also about IQ, intelligence.
Right.
It's the big differential between
Yeah.
humans and everything else is intelligence.
Yeah.
So much
We're
smarter.
obviously becoming more evolved intelligently. But you know what I was thinking too? The one thing that we are downfalling in society, everything I feel like is getting better, every single thing I can think of, except for language and our capability to communicate with one another. I feel like everything used to be so much, even if you talk about a formal sense, people used to be way more formal and proper.
Yeah,
and
that is
correct.
true, yeah.
And I feel like everything gets better. The fact of interconnectedness just starts to go down and down and down.
Well,
and that's almost spiritual as well. We probably don't have the family traditions and closeness within our it's even within communities and from back in the tribal days. Everyone used to be so close. So because everyone now lives in big cities and suburbs and stuff where you don't even know your neighbours, maybe that's why our ability to communicate has become so much poorer as we start to evolve as people. So maybe we'll get to a stage where we don't even talk to each other. But as we were saying before, I don't know if it's necessarily like we're going down a right or wrong path. Maybe that's the whole... Maybe we're all meant to become sentient beings eventually anyway.
I think I'll say it's the wrong path because when
Celestial beings, sorry.
when everything collapses, we're not going to be equipped to live how we used to live.
Yeah.
That's why I think.
Shawty catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a two-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stunt.